So we're going to try to do this step by step. As a couple people said, you're not the first one, Jacob, that said. This just goes from here to 0 to 100, right? So I'm going to try to show you all those little in-betweens. So beginning to draw this lip. Now, I like to draw at an angle, so I'm turning my paper at an angle. I'm going to work on this step first. Hopefully you guys can see what I'm doing. Yeah, this one's just like starting off with, I would start off with a line. Who are you going to go see? Nobody. It's a little bit darker in the corners. If you look at that picture. And then find the middle of it. If you can't find the middle, get a ruler and do some math, I guess. I can't believe I just told you guys to do math in an art class.
I have the long book.
We know. And then there's like a little V at the top of this line that was going vertically. And then quite a ways below it, look at the difference in the gap. That's about 1/4 of an inch. That's about not quite 1/2 an inch. So it is longer of a curve. It is a very wide curve. All right, that's the first step. Now, how do I get to here all of a sudden? I'm just going to look at it and try to figure it out. I've done this before, I'm kidding. So I need to draw the peaks of the lips. So one side, the left side, and then the right side. I'm going to make it looks like a really fancy bird that you would draw, like these birds, right? But my curve is really subtle. It's not sharp like this. It doesn't look like an M. It has like a U-ish shape upside down in a curve. So it is pointed right here, and the wings come out. Everybody's lip is different, so if you don't get yours to match this, that's okay. We're working on the angles and the curves. Then I can see that along this middle horizontal line, there's another U-shaped curve. And this is like that pointed part in the middle of your upper lip. Has a little bit of shading on the other side. Kind of looks like cat ears right now, what I just drew. Let me zoom in so you can see that better, I hope anyways. So we're all drawing really, really light using a 2B pencil. And then I need to continue this. So this makes a big curve down to touch the side of those lips. Not side of the lips, that side of the line I drew. It would on that one, but it doesn't show up. And now they've developed the side line a little bit more, that horizontal line that I first drew. They kind of have a little bit of a down curve. And if I look closely at this picture, there is another line at the bottom following that curve. That's going to be where we put a highlight, I believe. And it starts to curve up a little bit more. And now what I'm doing is there's like this weird, looks like a milk mustache. But this is going to help us do some shadowing later. So I'm just marking that area out where I see a little bit of extra lines. And I'm going to go through and use my eraser to get rid of those vertical lines, the horizontal lines that I used to help me sketch this out first. That's how we make things symmetrical. So the reason why there's like 10 steps after this, I'm kidding, there's not 10, there's like, 4 more lips after we have an outline, is because when you're drawing with graphite or colored pencil, it's about adding layers. So we've got a medium light, medium dark, and adding our dark values. It does take time.
Hey!
Hey, Dylan, please shush. Elena, can you hand them the recycling bin? They're early. I don't know if there's anything in it besides my water bottle. Thank you so much. That scared the crap out of me. Did that? Okay. Thank you so much. Okie dokie. I'm going to start doing this blending. I like to start in the corners. So a lot of you drew really heavy lines. So Eli, I saw you draw some really heavy lines. If you do circular blending like this, where we're drawing in little circles, go ahead, take a hall pass, please. And then we're looking at where we see those highlights and shadows. So I'm drawing this swoop right here, filling it in with a really light gray medium pressure. And then I'm going to do that to the other side. So this gives your lip a little bit more of three-dimensionality. This is a really tricky way to learn how to draw lips, but if someone would have showed me this when I was in high school, oh my gosh, I think everything would have been better. Even if you just leave it like this step, it's going to look amazing. What's your question? Yes. And then there's a Cupid's bow is added in this step. Cupid's bow is that little dent. I call it the snot run as well. It's like where all your boogers collect when you're sick. No? Okay. But the Cupid's bow is that fold in your lips that help make your lips look fuller. There's a little bit of shading on the outside. I'm just doing that circular blending. I'm going to take a blending step to this actually later, and it's going to look really good. I'm going to enhance my dark little middle line again for that upper lip, but on the bottom side of the upper lip. All right. As you can see, this is not a heavy line on that left side of the bottom lower lip. It's really light. It's not a hard outline right now because graphite does take layers. This one you can see a little bit of the curves in the lip, but you don't have to go crazy with those because I think the more you draw lines that look like this, it's going to flatten it out. So be careful not to add lines on your lips. It's going to make you look dry. So I hope that I can erase these because I really don't want them in there. And then I'm marking down where I see that shadow again that I did before. So I'm drawing out this and I'm drawing the crease or the dent in the lower lip. My lips are not big enough to have a dent like that. Everybody's lips are shaped differently. So take your time and like pay attention to how your person looks. And that's why we're going to do the grid. So we can try to match those lips perfectly of the person that you're going to do. So now in between that shape that I drew, I'm going to do again some more light blending. But there is a little bit of a highlight right there. I'm not going to push down too hard. That'll make it look like they're separated a little. I'm just like going through and adding some really light blending. I am going to do my shading having some curves to it, so it will naturally look like those dents or textures in the lips. But I'm not pushing down hard. Dan, next time don't forget to take a hall pass. And there is more shading. Okay. While I have it like this, I'm going to take my blending stub. We're not using the tip of the blending stub, we're using the side. And I'm going to just rub that graphite together. You cannot do this with an H pencil. You can really only do this with a 2B pencil or a 6B pencil. So now I'm able to do some of that skin along on the side, and there's shadows underneath, and I do have to put some more graphite down there. And I'm going to smudge that graphite around so it lays nice and flat and smooth. We still have 40 minutes left in class, y'all. Block scheduling's a blast. Your blending stub fell, but you can get that later. Yeah, someone killed that paintbrush. Okay, now I'm going to add below that lower lip a shadow. This will give the illusion, not that there's facial hair right here, because that's what it can look like if you do your shading wrong, but I'm giving it the illusion that the bottom lip is protruding, sticking out over, and there's like that dent between your bottom lip and your chin. Even if you don't have big lips, there's going to be a dent right here because your chin sticks out. So I'm not doing a heavy outline. I started out as a heavy outline, but now I'm adding some really simple shading below this. And all this graphite that I put down, I'm going to use it for the next step where you can see that it looks like they have hair or something along on there. It's not hair, it's just skin. So I'm going to use that blending stub, go in little circles. Don't press down too hard when you use a blending stub. This is just paper and it will break. But lightly smearing it, going in circles on its side and not the tip will make things a lot more realistic. So I am going to begin going into the next step where I'm taking this graphite that I just put down and I'm smearing it around very subtly. More my blending stub is on its side. I'm literally holding it flat like this and giving it some light shadows. And up at the top too, I got to put some more graphite in there. I could really spend forever on this. I've already spent 10 minutes on this. So I am going to speed through this last part a little bit because I know my computer will run out of memory. Another thing I like to do is, maybe you're like me, I like to put cardboard underneath my drawings because I can see the texture of my table. Sometimes it doesn't draw as soft. It's also a really nice way to push down onto the paper and add shadows. So I'm just using a 2B pencil. If I were using a 6B pencil, I'd be able to get darker like this. But I am going to now add the areas another level of shadows. I can see that that part stays medium and I'm pushing in my dark shadow in the corner of the mouth. That looks really severely different. So I need to add an adjustment to this. And what I mean by that is like some blending. And now I also see that in the divot of like the top lip, there's a little bit of a shadow. So I'm adding that. The more little details that you can catch, the better this is going to be. What? I'm going to add some more shadows in that back corner on the right hand side. Not the back, but just the corner. All right, now I'm going to blend in my really, really dark contrast into my medium dark. So it does not stand out as much, but it has a more subtle shift and a smoother transition. But our darks are still really dark, and our lights on the lips, I'm leaving really light so I can have nice contrast. Because creating good lips is all about the illusion of highlights and shadows. To make it look like it is, I'm going to say the word moist.
Moist.
I need to add in some shading above the Cupid's bow so it doesn't just look like I drew the letter U above the lip. So I'm doing some really light blending. And as you can see, a little highlight is going around the lips to give the illusion that there is a reflection on that skin up there and that it is coming off of the page, the face a little bit. I'm going to very lightly add some graphite in this area too. And then I'm going to blend it and then work on the bottom lip and then be done. I have to go in circles, otherwise this part will look like hair. And that's okay if it does look like hair. I've got hair on my upper lip, and you better not make fun of me for it. It's just who I am.
You have hair on your upper lip?
Sure do. Keeps me warm. It's my crumb catcher. Oh, wait, that'd be if it was on my chin, right? I'm a very hairy person, and I love every single bit of me, and I hope you guys learn to love yourselves too. All right, now I got to do my shading over here. So the bottom lip does not look as dark as that top
You
lip.
had hair on your lip. Like,
Everybody has hair on their lip. What do you mean, how do I know? I have a mirror. I'm not blind. I have tweezers.
like actual hairs in your lip.
No, on the upper, on the, where the mustache is. No. That would be okay. You could make fun of me if I had a strand of hair coming out of my like bottom lip like that.
That's okay, but coming out of your face.
And I'll be very, I have a mole on my chin. She's a hairy girl. She's got to be plucked. Otherwise, I will look like a witch. And that's a problem. Maybe someday I'll have that mole removed. Who knows? So I'm just adding some shading in here. So right now my shading looks super duper scribbly, but I am going to use my beautiful blending stub. Smooth it out. And as I'm doing that, now you can't see how wonderful this is when I'm doing. I am adding little tiny lines with this blending stub to give it the illusion of that curve. Now when I zoom back, hopefully it looks good. All right, hey, that looks pretty good. I don't feel like I have the time to go that dark and that heavy, like as in the last step. But I will do just a little bits of it. I'm not gonna go too nuts because I don't have the time, and neither do any of you. I'm so tired. I'm not gonna do anymore.